Alright, we're back with more F1 2020 My Team. This is our save with the Holloway Racing Team, aka HRT, and today we're here with the Spanish Grand Prix, having scored our first points last time out at the Dutch Grand Prix. And something I actually forgot to mention in the last episode is that we have a new team logo. I completely forgot to mention that last time amongst all the other stuff that was new in that episode. But moving on to today then, obviously we got that big point score last time out in Netherlands, so that was very good for us then. 10 points on the board. We've already reached our sponsor's goal for the season, so yeah, don't have to worry about that now. We're actually now going to finally bring in another factory upgrade then to the chassis department, and then increase or speed up the build time there. So hopefully we'll be getting chassis upgrades on faster now. In terms of that, there's not actually much time between now and the next race, but we will get a chassis upgrade on the car hopefully soon. We've got enough resource points to get one, so we're going to go with that now then, and yeah, hopefully this should unlock some more points for us then, because obviously it's the aero and the chassis that we're lacking in the most to begin with. But unfortunately it doesn't look like this is going to be coming for a while then, so I don't think we're even going to get it in time for the Monaco Grand Prix. We'll have an aero upgrade in for that race, but neither of these upgrades are going to be on the car for this weekend, sadly. We didn't really have much time actually to do many activities, so yes, just going to be the one, I guess, for this one. We're going to improve our second driver's stats a bit. I do have the update with the updated driver stats, so hopefully Callum will be a bit faster now. Moving on then to the Spanish Grand Prix weekend, as you can see, well, it's going to be another wet race according to that. I don't know why it is, it just seems to be the case in every Cody's game. It just seems to rain far too often, I think. Like they just need to turn that down a bit. It just seems to rain far too often, like in career mode saves in general. As you can see, we're losing bare ground there to Haas. Obviously we're a bit slow on the upgrades at the moment. Also, as you can see, this power unit is looking very second hand. This one we've been using since the start of the season. We're going to use it for practice, but then we're going to move on to the second spec for all the parts going into qualifying on the race, which obviously isn't good because that's got to last us 21 races, and we're only 5 races in and we're already having to change one of them, and we've only got like 2 or 3 of some of the parts, so that's not ideal. As we now start practice then, this is a track that I've done many times in the past, so not having many issues here with the car and well, the track layout, I guess. So it's pretty straightforward. I sort of knew what I was doing here, and yeah, lap times looking pretty good then. Tyre wear was looking good as well, so that's encouraging there then. And these practice sessions these practice programs were all going very well. We're just going to fast forward a bit then to what is the race strategy program. As you can see, that is a bit alarming actually. We are well above the target there. I mean, we had a way better weekend than expected in Netherlands, and I was thinking, you know, maybe it's time to up the difficulty a bit, and I think if we ever needed confirmation that we need to do that, then it's right now. The qualifying program, we never do well in this. We're well up on our time. We're going to be nearly a second up. That just isn't how it should be really, as we comfortably beat the target, and it's then predicting 7th, so we're well ahead of where we should be there, I think, in terms of yeah, in terms of the difficulty, because we've still got like the 2nd or 3rd worst car on the grid. So yeah, qualifying 7th again would not be very realistic. So we are going to make a change now then. I was going to hold off for a few more races to see, but I think that we do just need to up it a bit. We're going to 107 then. We had been running 105 in all the previous races. I think I did actually put it to 106 initially, but then I changed it there to 107. And I think, you know, we've got to make a bit more of a leap than just one, because yeah, obviously we're now playing in a fresh engine, so we're going to be even quicker than we were in that practice program. So yeah, we certainly need to up the AI difficulty, like, you know, a significant bit. So I think jumping up to will hopefully see that then. We are now in qualifying then. Here we are then on our first run in the session, and through turn 8 I think it says we make a bit of a mistake there. We dip a wheel onto the gravel. The lap time was invalidated there, I guess because we lost time quite clearly, but that's not ideal then. But still, even with that difficulty increase, we still go 17th and ahead of both the Haas drivers there. So is it still too low for us then? Because I mean we could easily find about 3/10 then probably. In fact, on our second lap then we actually didn't even have the best start to the lap then, and we lost a bit of time, but then going through turn 8 where we had a mistake before, we gained it all back. So yeah, I think we lost probably about 3/10 of a second with that initial mistake, and then we went and made another one earlier in the lap on our second run. This is going to be an improvement though, and we split the Alfa Romeos then with that lap time, but I'd say there's still another maybe 3/10 in it. That's possible for us, so we could probably be higher than that. Don't know if we'll be anywhere near top 10, but I think there's certainly potential for us to be higher on the grid here then. We are up on our final lap time here, then the checkered flag is already out. We've got Sebastian Vettel very close to the back of us then on this lap as well. Going through turn 8, which caused us problems before, and it caused us another problem there. Very slightly outside the track limits, and that has invalidated our lap time unfortunately. We just allow Vettel to go through, won't disrupt his lap there. But for us, yeah, it's not looking like it's going to be the best result then, and I think that difficulty increase was probably a good thing because it put a bit more pressure on me to nail the lap, and yeah, I sort of cracked under the pressure a bit. So I think it's quite good that we did that, because now we're going to be much more in a realistic place in terms of where the car is, even though we probably could have found a few more tenths there, as we are 19th then at the end of qualifying. So as I say, round about probably where the car should be. As we see then, I think we probably could have been about 14th looking at that. I think we could have split the AlphaTauris probably. So yeah, there's certainly a lot more time to find, but I think it just goes to show really that probably even 107 was a bit too low for this qualifying session. Russell then manages to split the HRTs then, so a bit of a disappointing qualifying session there for Callum. I'm not sure if Russell's had a bit of an increase on his stats actually, so maybe that might have contributed to it. But yeah, it was Mercedes 1-2 then up at the front. In terms of our rivalry goes on, that's hurt us a little bit then because he's out-qualified us there. In terms of team claim, we gain a little bit more, but nothing really significant has come from that one then. Now then, we've got the race coming up, and it's only going to be raining for a little bit at the start according to the forecast, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. It's going to be yet another wet race then, and yeah, it's coming up now.
The Spanish Grand Prix has been a permanent fixture on the Formula One calendar for over 30 years now, and for good reason. Do you remember Michael Schumacher's absolute dominance here in that rain-soaked Grand Prix in 1996? That day he took his first ever victory for Ferrari, and we've had many more iconic moments since. It's 730 metres from pole position down to a slippery turn 1 here, the first of 16 corners around this 2.89 mile racetrack. The long, wide turn 3 and the uphill right-hander of turn 9 can both be taken full throttle in the right conditions, but I doubt very much we'll be seeing any of that today. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Max Verstappen, and Sainz, Albon, Ricciardo, Perez, and Esteban Ocon, Norris, Stroll, Daniel Kvyat, and Gasly, Raikkonen, Grosjean, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Kevin Magnussen. The scientist, Russell, Ireland, and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
It's looking like we'll be starting on the intermediate tyres then, and well, it's saying it'll be a 2-stopper from there, but will it even still be raining by the time we get to that first scheduled pit stop? We'll have to wait and see. We'll underfuel the car a little bit, I think, just because we won't use as much fuel, I guess, in the wet conditions. In terms of strategy, I'm running pretty much a dry setup here because I didn't really think it was worth it to run a wet setup here, because I thought, well, the rain would probably dry up well, too early for it to really be worth it, like in terms of, you know, sacrificing anything in qualifying and then later on in the race. So we're on pretty much a fully dry setup here. Hopefully that won't come back to bite us here. I think we should hopefully move forward here, because I think, you know, there's a bit more pace in the car than what we showed in qualifying, so I think we can hopefully move up a bit then. I think we can hopefully pass the 2 Haas drivers. Maybe we can mix up with the Alfa Romeos as well. Alpha Tauris may be a bit too far in front of us, so, but we are now lining up then on the grid, and we have the lights coming on now. Away we go, and it is once again a bit of a tentative start for everyone, but we've had a pretty good launch there, passing Magnussen straight away. Once again though, I just keep on forgetting to go into overtake on the starts. I'm always a little bit too hesitant there and losing myself a little bit of time. We're on the outside for turn 1. We may well go around the other Haas here of Grosjean. Looks like he's just about held on, but he's a bit wide in turn 2. We're now going to be wide in turn 3 though, so he may get us back here then, as Magnussen and I are jostling for position behind us. Then we run a bit wide there and had a warning, and now Magnussen is back alongside us then towards turn 4. Can we hang on round the outside? Well, it's very, very close then. We're almost getting hung out to dry there, but now we get the inside line for turn 5, and I think, have we just about done enough here then? It looks like just about, as we apply a bit more overtake then to just give ourselves a bit of a boost there to get up in front of him there, and also try not to run into Grosjean as well in the next corner as we round turn 8 now then. And yeah, we'll see if we can get any overtakes done then into this tight left-hander of turn 9. Well, we're going to go for it then. We're past Grosjean, and in fact the door's wide open there from Giovinazzi as well, so it looks like we are just about going to take him as well then. 2 places gained there, we're up to 16th, so wasn't the best start initially, but then yeah, managed to gain a couple of places there towards the end of the lap, so overall up 3 from where we started. That's a very good start. As we take a look then at the replays now, and yeah, as we saw, everyone quite tentative away. I thought both me and Callum had decent starts there though compared to the cars we were around. We were both on the outside line there then for turn 1. We were very close there with, well, Magnussen and I were very close actually. We weren't as close with Grosjean, but then it was really around turn 3 where I think we ran just a little bit too wide here then out onto the paint. We got a warning for that, and that allowed Magnussen to come back at us there for a bit, but yeah, we just had to try and hang on around the outside here then and try not to get run off the road, and then that allowed us to take the inside line then for turn 5 and eventually get ourselves ahead. We do see a replay then of our teammate's start, and as I was saying, he did have a pretty good launch as well as us, so he was straight past Russell then as we were straight past Magnussen. He's actually getting a bit of a slipstream from us as well then, and down in towards the outside of turn 1 then he just sort of follows our line there then side by side with Magnussen, very close to some contact as well there, and in fact I think he was actually getting a bit held up here by me, following directly behind as we round turn 3 then. He was just getting a little bit boxed in there because yeah, if he'd kept his foot in it there may well have been a 3-way collision. Up at the front though, we see Bottas then, who is down in 6th in the championships, having a dismal season whilst Hamilton runs away with it, and he's putting up a bit of a fight here then, so on the first lap, lunging up the inside of Hamilton into turn 1. The team Mercedes famously crashed out of the race on lap 1 here in 2016 when it was Hamilton and Rosberg, but they've managed to get away with it today then as Hamilton manages to fend off his teammate. But there was actually a little bit of contact behind between the 2 Ferraris of Vettel and Leclerc. Leclerc not happy about that move there for some reason, but then later on in the lap we see we passed 2 cars there, the Haas and the Alfa Romeo of Grosjean and Giovinazzi respectively. Giovinazzi there just getting squeezed out a bit, and that allowed us to maintain the position that we just taken there. Grosjean there, I don't know if he was going for a late defensive move or if he was thinking about making a move himself on Giovinazzi there, but Same made a bit of a jink left there as we were going through, but there was nothing he could do, and we were up to 16th position. By lap 5 then, we were still there. This is just one of those tracks that's so hard to overtake on, and in fact it's probably even harder in the wet conditions without any DRS. And yeah, as we've seen recently in real life, it just doesn't often throw great races, unfortunately, because of that. We do have a yellow flag in front of us though, so something has happened. Someone has gone off in front of us, and it is the racing point then. For the second race in a row, Lance Stroll is out in the first few laps, so that's a very unlucky run of races then he's had then in these last two. And we've also at the end of the lap then got Lando Norris in the pits, so maybe a bit of an incident between those two there, because that doesn't look like a scheduled stop at this point of race then for the McLaren driver. I guess we'll see what happened then in a minute, but as you saw there, we were just gaining nothing on the straights. No wonder we weren't seeing any overtaking, because even in overtake we weren't gaining anything. But we see there, I think Stroll was having an engine failure, and I think he collected Norris as well as he was starting to retire. And yeah, that certainly looked like smoke there coming out the back of the racing point, and then, well, he just drives into the side of Norris there really. We'll have a look at the other's perspective in a minute as well to see if there's anything he could have really done there, but he's damaged Norris's front wing, and yeah, well, the engine goes, but I mean, it's hard to say really. I mean, was there anywhere he could have pulled off before that? It's hard to say. He finally finds a marshal post there, but yeah, there's a bit of contact with Norris. I'm not really sure about that one. I'm not sure if Stroll could have really done much different there, to be honest, but nonetheless then he's out of the race again, and Norris was in the pits for damage. The DRS got enabled just before, well, just slightly too late for us to actually pit there for dry tyres, which is a bit unfortunate because we could have gained a nice advantage there if we'd been able to dive in the pits, but I just wasn't quite sure if the track was ready yet, and usually it's when the DRS is enabled that it's sort of the clue for you to come in and change your tyres. We did come in though at the end of that lap though, and so did Raikkonen, but Kvyat decided to stay out, which is a bit of a surprise there. I guess he didn't want to queue behind his teammate because I think Gasly's in the pits. So it's going to be another battle then between the mechanics then. Our pit stops have been quite good this season. We'll see if we can jump the Alfa Romeo there of Kimi Raikkonen as we pull then into the last pit box in this pit lane then. It's another great stop from our mechanics, and we have managed to jump Raikkonen then, so a fantastic stop there from the HRT mechanics, and we're up then, another place gained ahead of Kimi Raikkonen now then, and only about a couple of seconds there behind Pierre Gasly. So yes, once again shaping up to be a decent race for us then, as we see a replay then of Raikkonen in the pits now, and yeah, seeing a pretty decent stop from the Alfa Romeo team, and then, well, great game. I don't even know what to say about that. We just had an unsafe release and then just ghosted, I guess. So that makes sense. But nonetheless, then we've got Oiler in the pits now, Giovinazzi and Kvyat. Kvyat was actually the only one who we gained a place on there. So we're up to 12th place now, and so that's certainly worked out very well for us then. We've gained another 2 places in all of that. So we're actually now looking like we're in a much better position than we were when this race first started. We've got Raikkonen all over back of us though, and he's looking pretty quick at the moment. There's a yellow flag out, that's from Magnussen, who was behind us anyway, so that's not really much of a concern for us though. But what is that Raikkonen's got a very good run towards turn 1. We're going defensive, and it looks like we've just about, have we? Yes, we have. We've done enough then to cover that inside line then and maintain our position for the time being. But Raikkonen there, very close to an overtake, as we see then a replay. Magnussen looks like he had an engine failure there, and that is his race over. And I was quite surprised actually that we didn't get any kind of safety car here, because, well, he was stopped right in the middle of the pit straight. It looked like he was only just off the track, and it would have been very hard for marshals to recover that, I would have thought. So a bit surprised we didn't see any kind of safety car there. As we see then, Raikkonen had a very good run towards turn 1, but as I was saying, it's just so difficult to overtake around this track, and he couldn't make the move stick. We see then from on board just the speed difference there. He had a fantastic run, but we were just later on the brakes for the inside line, so it was quite straightforward in the end for us to maintain the position there. But Raikkonen looking very quick then at this stage, certainly looking quicker than us. As we see then a few laps later, some cars on different strategies. Ricciardo and Perez went over to softs initially. Ricciardo's now gone on to hard, so he's probably getting to the end, but Perez for some reason went on to softs again, so that's a bit weird. We're up into the points, but these medium tyres are not going to go the full distance, unfortunately, so we will have to pit again. But because the race started in wet conditions and we started on intermediate tyres, we don't have to use two different dry compounds, so we are actually going to go over to medium tyres again here then, and they will take us to the end of the race. Raikkonen's still very close behind us, and he's following us on strategy as well then, even on the same pit-in lap. It's another good stop then by the HRT mechanics, and we are out ahead of Raikkonen once again then, but I think it was a lot less close than last time, although I think anything would have been less close than last time, since we literally ghosted through his car. But nonetheless then, we rejoin ahead. Gasly's long gone at this point, Russell still needs to pit, and we've got Perez in a few laps later once again making another pit stop, so that's a very unusual strategy there. Perez known for looking after his tyres, but a very unusual strategy there then, that was put him well out of it then, and we are up to 11th place then with only just under 9 laps to go. But as I said, Gasly was long gone. We were really just watching out for Raikkonen behind us, who was quite quick, but as I was saying, you just can't overtake on this track, and Raikkonen didn't get close enough to us again because I didn't slack off on the ERS again then down the straight, which I think was what allowed him to get so close on that one occasion. But we're going to maintain our position there, it looks like, ahead of Raikkonen. It's not going to be points again, but it's another strong finish though, as we are going to come across the line then for 11th place in Spain.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
So it's yet another win then for Lewis Hamilton, with his teammate Valtteri Bottas then in second place. Didn't look like anything went wrong for him today. He certainly gave Hamilton a run for it near the start. He did get the fastest lap, but Hamilton just had that bit extra. But yeah, this is one of the only times so far this season that Bottas doesn't seem to have had anything go wrong for him. Vettel rounded out the podium then. Verstappen split the two Ferraris, and Carlos Sainz had a very strong home race there in 6th place ahead of Alex Albon's Red Bull. Then we had the two Renaults there in 8th and 9th, and Pierre Gasly rounded out the points. And then, yeah, we were the first of the non-point scorers then today, so another strong result. Strong results as well, I'd say, for the Alphas and the Haas's there, ahead of some other midfielders such as Perez, Norris and Kvyat, who you'd maybe think would be ahead. Oilot then, another difficult day. He was beaten by George Russell in the Williams again, so that is really not what we want to be seeing there. We sort of want him to be trying to get some points if he can. Helping us to maybe get some more on the board as well eventually, but I mean, I think the car may be a bit far from that yet. Hamilton then still comfortably in the lead of the championship. Vettel up to 3rd then with that result, ahead of the Dutch Grand Prix winner Max Verstappen there. Looking further down, we're still in 11th place then, and Romain Grosjean further down has moved ahead of Oilot, with the two Williams still at the bottom of the table. Mercedes then, I think they may have already been in the lead, because those position indicators are outdated, because obviously we didn't score any points today. But yeah, we're still 7th place then with 10 points, and yeah, it's Mercedes then still at the top.
So that was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. You really cut your way through the field today. What was your strategy? Your team must be ecstatic with how you're performing. Did you feel comfortable in the wet weather today? Appreciate your time.
Some more acclaim gain, then we're so close to level 7 with that one. I don't think we can get another sponsor until we're at level 10. I think it's level 10, so it might be a while yet. Some nice income then from our sponsors once again. I accidentally skipped over that, so we didn't fully see how much we gained this week, but it was a good amount. I think we're making good progress, I think, and we're really racking up the money, so that's good. And that is it then for this one. As I say, Spain isn't always the most eventful race, but I think it was another solid result for us, and we did see a bit of action as well with the sort of wet weather, so it certainly threw up some different stuff. So we'll now move on then to, I guess, the most famous race on the calendar then, the Monaco Grand Prix. What can we do there then? It'll be the team's first race there. I'll see you for that one then. Thank you for watching this one, and yep, see you then. Goodbye.